are awesome. And the way you do that is by making sure your pages get indexed. And there's lots of tools and companies out there that can help make sure you do this, but really it comes down to a main thing. Making sure that one page of content on your website only has one URL, and making sure that your URLs are not full of gobbledygook, and that it's actually a real page. So if you have a CMS or anything like that, name your pages with the keywords that you're targeting, right? Name them that thing. So if you have a page on greenhouse cleaning, make it HTML, right? Put greenhouse cleaning in the title and the meta information of the page. Again, basic SEO is pretty easy to find information. Tags, description tags. The fundamentals of SEO haven't really changed in 4 years. It's get indexed. So it's clear and Google can find it. You can use you can do site colon, write this down, it's not in here, a site colon in your website, a site colon in your website to see how many pages Google has indexed. And if they have the same number of pages indexed as you have pages on your website, you're good. For the most part, you're good. The rest is relevance. Relevance is how well you work keywords into the site. How keyword rich are your pages? How many pages do you have on different topics? So let's say that you're as indexable and as popular people link to you as a competitor, but you have more pages and they're better focused on more keywords. You're likely to get more rankings because of that. And it really is just a numbers game. You're fighting for indexing, making sure you're indexed, relevance, making sure that you have keywords that are targeting the user's need on your website in many places that makes sense. Not stuffing, not over the top. Again, if you targeted one keyword per page, and just like you saw on that camera page where there was two links going to the page, a main, a sub, and then a headline, and then you talk about the thing in your copy and just naturally discuss it, you're probably doing really, really great. It's just little details to take care of. And that'll cover your relevance. And then the rest is how many pages and how many different topics are you discussing. And then popularity is all about links coming back to your website. That's how many directories you're in, whether or not your Google Maps listing is taken care of, whether or not you're in, whether you're in Yelp, City Search, Yellow Pages. All these different sites that are local directories for local business that can link to you, as well as if you have other things that you're doing that create links back to your website. And that's where it gets into publishing and social media. At the end of the day, there is no better way to get links to your website than creating useful content. Just at the end of the day, there's no better way to do it. You create content, other people find it useful, the internet is for sharing information. And social media and everything you hear about in social media are just lots and lots of different ways to share content with other people. You find an article that's really cool, you post it to your blog, or you post it to Twitter or Facebook or whatever. And again, here it gets really confusing and convoluted, and having been here last week would give you a lot more detail on it, or going back and checking his presentation on that. I'm not going to delve too much other than to give you a rough priority of how to approach it. If you're going to publish, right, and knowing that every time you post an article to your site, if someone else likes it and links to it, that's going to help your SEO effort. It's also going to bring people to your site for content that you find useful. Maybe you're talking about house cleaning services in Durham. People link to it, that's going to help you rank for house cleaning services in Durham. You're also going to be providing really good information to a user who had a question. And if you create content to answer their questions in a way that doesn't necessarily integrate with your website, right? That's what the blog is for. You can publish an article on any topic that you want. You can create that content. If you understand user language when you create the article or write the article, and you're truly knowledgeable about what you're talking about, it's going to be useful. It's going to be a useful article and people are going to like it. If you create content that they find useful, they're going to trust you. If they trust you when they have the need for your service, hopefully they'll come to you first. And again, when you're publishing and when you have articles and when people are coming into your website to read your articles, either from Google or from other websites, you'll know how often people who come into that part of your website become a lead. Just marketing channel, you'll be able to gauge your publishing effort based on how often people engage you for the service that you provide. You'll also be able to see how your organic search engine rankings have gone up since you started doing that publishing. So even blogging is a measurable thing that you can do. It doesn't have to be a black box. Once you're creating great content, be social. And this is the beginning of social media, really. And this is e-zine articles, different article sites where you can publish content, finding, maybe even contributing content to the chamber, saying, hey, I'd like to write an article on this topic for your members about commercial cleaning or things like that you can add to your newsletter. Find people who already have access to the market you're trying to reach and say, hey, I'd like to create content for you. Right? Or find other people who are also writing about the same topics and comment on their posts. Because then there's a network of people who are all interested in publishing on the same kind of a topic, and that's an online community. It doesn't have to be in Twitter or Facebook that you have the community. It can just be a rough link of people who blog. Because remember, bloggers are people. They're just people trying to do the same thing you are. Maybe you cross-post. Hey, can I post something cool on your site? And then you can post something cool on my site. And you talk about, hey, what do your users respond to? What do they like? Hey, what can I write for you? What information can I bring you? Oh, I don't know anything about green. Can you write about green? Oh, yeah, I can write about green cleaning. And share. And a competitor doesn't have to be a competitor if you're both publishing. You're both serving the same market and trying to be useful to that market. So this is the beginning of social media. Who's publishing, and how do you cross to get access to that market and to be useful to that market? I say email marketing next, because one basis can I add you to our monthly newsletter? Because your blog is essentially writing your newsletter for you. So every month, you put your topic for that month in a newsletter, and you send it out to all of the people you've ever talked to who said, oh, sure, I'd be happy to get it. And so it's a way to constantly be of mind for the people that you're selling to, even when they're not. Customers would like to get tips on spring cleaning, or tips on this, or tips on that grimy oven grease, right? I do want this information, and it allows you publishing. It allows you to take that and turn it into keeping in contact with your own customers. Because the website isn't just about getting new people. Your publishing isn't just SEO. It's about interacting with human beings and being useful to human beings. Right? Then, as an extension of this thing that you've already got going on, unless you're like a salesperson and you use this for something else other than marketing, right, or publishing. If you use it to just say, hey, I know you, I'm going to link to you on LinkedIn such that I can send you an email every once in a while. I know how to get in touch with you. Or some people who only use Twitter to stay in contact with other people. But generally, this should be an extension of the publishing you're already doing. So you may publish special little nuggets of information to Facebook and Twitter. You may, every time you write a blog post, it may automatically go out to Facebook and Twitter. But none of this is truly effective to support anything if you do them in silos. Right? Your blog should have something on it to sign up for your newsletter. Your blog should have something on it to integrate Facebook and Twitter, such that if someone's reading an article, they have the option to say, oh, I want to join their Facebook page, I want to join their Twitter page, or I want to sign up for their email newsletter. On your Facebook and Twitter pages, you should have links or information that can get them back to your blog, that can get them to your newsletter. All of these things need to be integrated, and as much as you can, if you're posting on your blog, automate your Facebook and Twitter posts. And there's ways you can do that. If you search, if you do a Google search for auto post, or help me out, what's the best? I didn't put it in here.
And I don't know. I know you can set up. You can set up. You go into Facebook and have pull your Twitter feed.
There's a Twitter Facebook app, and there are services you can do such that every time you post to your blog, it automatically goes to Twitter. So it's possible to integrate those two. Again, it may be something that you contact your web developer about. Hey, can you set this up? But you can automate a lot of this Your newsletter becomes automated from every time you post a blog.